Any questions? Let's open the floor for questions. Well, I see a lot of computer science colleagues here. I'm sure you have a lot of burning questions. Yeah, Jianping.
So the naming and search challenge in IoT is quite similar to the naming and search challenge in information-centered network or content-centered network. Do you think those solutions for content-centered network or information-centered network can be brought into IoT in terms of naming and search?
I think on three aspects they're different. One is order is much larger. I mentioned that. Second, I try to use my example. Let me be clear. I think people tend to use the content or their own view to name it. My wife called me the husband. You call me the professor. Person we call me as mentee. Okay, so different people call you differently. They want the information different, so they name you different. So each object have a multiple name is natural, but internet, based on simple assumption, each device uniquely addressed. So that's the difference too. So I think also when do the searching like a Google, how the Google did, it's pretty simple. They try to figure out who is accessing this page more. So they have a locality assumption. Say, I want to know Wang Jianping. Okay, then what they did is they say, oh, on the whole world, we have 100 websites, but those 10 websites being read more by other people, likely you want the same thing. This is kind of locality, right? Human tend to locality. If I like sweet food, you like sweet food. If I like to read the web page, you like the web page. So Google based on this to provide a search engine. But if you think about the other two assumptions, one, we have much bigger order, and the second, different people name you differently, then the locality assumption no longer holds in the Internet of Things. So even you don't know how to start search to begin with. The Google is based on the access pattern. Now, there's no access pattern. You cannot say this cup has been used by Weizhao most frequently. So let my wife know. No, my wife want to know the cup he's using now. Challenge. As I said, you can be 3 order rich, as rich as a Google, but it's not easy. Okay.
Yep.
If I know it, I won't stand here. I'll be donating money to CTU.
Good. 小天.
Yeah, I like this search issue. Just so the search is not just like a search for something everybody is interested in. It's a search personal.
Correct. Like, their own interest.
Right. Yeah. But I'm asking another question about the real time. Do we need to lay actual wireless connections to do the real time?
If you can do that, great. Well, I did real time almost from live. Many of you know. So, number one, real time is impossible because you cannot beat the speed light. If you say, I want delay being, say, 10 micro, for example, we know coast delay will be in an order of 30 milliseconds. If you delay require much less than that, I'm sorry, you have to get another Einstein come here to help you. Okay, Einstein say the speed like this, so I cannot reduce the delay further. So that's why you have to do local computing. Now, assuming the speed light is okay, you can tolerate that. But still, because internet things, or on the internet, many traffic somehow merge together, it won't work. So that gets things pretty complex. The good news or bad news is, I hate to say this to my own work, is in real-time computing from later 80s until 2000, people did a lot. We do all the scheduling things, try to manual packet so you can schedule that way, you can route that way to reduce delay. The tricks are pretty simple. If your utilization of network is about 20% less, you literally have a speed like the transmission done with it. So that's what we're implementing now. So I don't want to lie to you. You're going to ask me, say, Weizhao, how can you do that? What we like to do is we actually we try to monitor the network utilization. When it's lower than a certain degree, then actually I can tell you yes. If higher than that, I will tell you the high risk. this theory actually was laid down by another great professor, Dave Liu, who happened also to be professor here for quite a long time. So you don't have to answer, you don't have to lay enough. If you can do that, it's the best. But otherwise, if you control utilization less than 20%, you're okay.
Yeah.
I have a question. Are there any global-wise peer application for Internet of Things? Because I have a feeling that this is doing some kind of a platform thing. And the Internet initially was driven by email system for a fax and TP. Are there similar things global-wise that needs this kind of platform so that there's both the application promotes the platform development and the platform development promotes application?
I already gave you one. If my wife lives in the U.S., she cares about me. She wants to know the water I'm drinking. That's the application. Perhaps you will say, oh, you're old enough, your wife won't care you anymore. But I think many other things. Let me give you an example, which certainly can be local and global. Many of you people here, either you are still students or perhaps you have kids who will go to university. What happened, assuming legal issues, private issues can be addressed properly, you want to know where and how your daughter lives on her campus. Remember, on campus today, you have many surveillance systems today. But why today you cannot buy that service? Even you live next to the door of your CTU. Can CTU provide such a service? You cannot. Because each surveillance system was built vertically. They don't open. That's number one. Number two, the service layer will not be provided. Therefore, you cannot do that. But assuming this, we can do what I described, then, of course, it depends on money, right? As somebody want to get rich. If you're rich enough, you can say, I can know where is my daughter or where is my dog on the Hong Kong street, okay? You have video surveillance system, in the street, maybe the street surveillance system in this building, have building system, in another building, another one. But remember, they all interneted. And at the low layer, you can certain filters. Only when you saw this picture, send a picture up. Because actually, what we try to do, each server have independent business model. This server advertise, I want to buy this picture. Okay, then the low layer camera say, okay, I want to sell this picture to you. So by doing so, if you have your daughter live on Cambridge, Harvard University, every day your wife can see her, no problem. She won't have to use Skype, put some camera in her dorm anymore. Anywhere she goes, of course, she probably don't want you to see her anyway. But that's a different story. Yes.
Sam first, then.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Chow, for the excellent talk. Say,
You didn't change
when
your
you're
mind.
talking about the protocol, you remind me some of the old timer like me. So you mentioned the TCP/IP, which has somehow become the winner of today's protocol. So by looking at yours proposed protocol, it also remind me the OSI protocol that you put up IoT services, which basically replace the presentation layer and the session layer of the OSI model. And one more difficult part, I think, for your Internet of Things, for the things that has to connect it to the Internet, it imposes another layer of interface. So I wonder how your IoT services somehow take these three layers into consideration. So that is my question. Thank you.
Your question have two parts. One, I think you worry about if I can get rich. Second is anything thought about those kind of connecting with the physical devices? I admit to you, I have never been rich, and I don't plan to be rich. But we had to try, okay? I think I will be one of the different solutions. So probability to win is one of the million here. Anyway, I promise I donate money to CTU if I win. Or my son will do probably after many years. Second issue, yes, from presentation, I didn't have time to go on. Detail looks this is very heavy weighted protocol. Actually, this is not the case. We are developing device-specific lightweight protocols put in the device. Actually, I'm working with Professor Wei Jiajia here because he's a cameraman. We now try to put a Internet protocol inside his camera. So that be very specialized because that's only, once you know this little server only serves this device, I can severely reduce the weight, make things very lightweighted. That's actually another dimension of protocol. It's not, TCPI is only one protocol. Here we really talk about a set of protocols, which is somehow standard, at the same time is customized for devices.
Xiaohua.
All my friends or professor here try to challenge me. It's not fair.
Just like old time.
First, I really enjoy your talk very much. I'm also working in a similar area. But I'm not going to ask a challenging question. I'm going to ask a non-technical question. In last 10 years, the universities in mainland developed very fast. And the Chinese government invest a lot of funding for research. And you yourself is certainly a good example and participate into the mainland 973scheme. I want to know, as a president of Macau University, have you made a big plan or form a policy to encourage your colleagues to engage into the research with mainland universities and to have a close collaboration with mainland universities?
So you're challenging one country, two systems. I'm not a politician, so let me not comment on the specific or general policies, the science, the technology, whatever happening in mainland. Indeed, I think a tremendous progress has been made. A lot of investment made. We see a lot of good progresses. But for the project Internet of Things, I'd like to be frank with you. I think perhaps you're the first time to hear people talk about Internet of Things this way. Most likely other people talk about you. If you now record, they talk about vertical integration. Okay. I think that made my team different from other efforts, either mainland or anywhere else people are making mostly. We already told all the friends in China here, there. Actually, I think I lightly touched this. Several cities, all the cities, if you talk to mayors, many cities try to do this, the 政绩工程. So I was frank with them. You can build a vertical system to show the 政绩工程. But this thing will not have technical impact, will not help you to make money. Okay, it's not that way. The Internet, from technical point of view, why Internet so wide? Why did it being spread? Why Cisco get rich? Why Huawei get rich? Fundamentally, from technical point of view, because it's a horizontal networking. So I was frank on that. So maybe many mayors were mad on me, but what can I do? Okay.
Good. Any more questions? Yeah.
As I understood correctly, Internet of Things involves at the basic level keeping track of the attributes of the objects and persons. So such a thing is also incorporated in the enterprise resource planning softwares like SAP. So can this be used in Internet of Things as well, like using electronic product codes to keep track of objects and their attributes?
Certainly, yes.
So what is stopping us from using this in Internet of Things?
It's pretty simple. The system you talk about, as I said, I call them the specialized IoT. It is IoT. As a matter of fact, you can call other names, but in principle, it's IoT, but it's specialized. It's vertically integrated. So when you want to open that system to something else, you will have a problem. And the cost is pretty heavy alone. So idea is, as I think my talk is clear, many systems being built for different special purposes because they are vertically integrated, because architecture is closed. Therefore, it's different from the internet revolution. you just sell that particular product alone. From setting point of view, it's not too bad because you're setting from hardware to up layer server at the same time. But from here, you won't see internet-like revolution. If you believe internet can replace all the older networks, telegram, telephone, that kind of things, then you had to do horizontal networking. The system you described didn't do that.
Thank you.
Good. One last question. Again, you.
Thank you. I'm honored to take this last question. And I may ask a kind of stupid question because I do not have any insight in this area. I just hear this term and very interested in what it is. After your presentation, can I just say the old internet, what we have been known for like years, is the internet of computers, and the new internet of things is the internet of anything but computers, or maybe even including computers.
Correct.
Can I say that? Thank you very much.
However, I like to emphasize, in my opinion, you really don't want to use the Internet of Things to connect computer. The cost is too high. Okay? In theory, today the Internet literally is free because it's simple, it's scalable, it's a low cost. I personally believe if you build the Internet of Things, if you build a global Internet of Things, the mechanism to make money must be built in. Number one, the information itself works for the money. As I said, from the very source, the information should be charged. You know, when you broadcast a video from here, somebody had to pay for it. Then the broker in the middle, or the server in the middle should make money. That will eventually make a global Internet of Things possible. Otherwise, why bother? If it's free, you can watch this video. Okay, it's free, you can watch your daughter in Harvard, how she's walking around. It's free, you can track a car running on the Hong Kong streets. Nobody will do that for you. So the result is that will not happen. So as I said, in one of the attributes, very bottom, I made clear, it had to be profitable. That's why the 政绩工程 won't work, because 政绩工程 did not building the mechanism to make money.
Good. So a lot of interesting question. Unfortunately, run out of time. But I would like to say one thing. Professor Yao mentioning he was kind of thinking whether he should stay at CTU in the 1996. So perhaps something Professor Wei Guo didn't even know. Had he not attracted Professor Zhao back to Texas to be the head of department, I may not be the head of department in 1997. So something I should thank Professor.
I will be still member here. I will never intend anyway. But he's the one to be blamed.
Yeah, that's right. So with that, I'll invite Professor Guo to present souvenir to Professor Zhao.
Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.